We're FNN, the Financial News Network.
You've probably heard of magnetic resonance imaging, a process that's complementing, competing with, and in some cases replacing CAT scanning in hospitals. And now all kinds of new uses are envisioned for the process. We have with us the inventor of the nuclear magnetic resonance machine. How he did it is a long story contained in a book just out, a machine called Indomitable by Sonny Kleinfeld. Our guest is Dr. Raymond Damadian. Dr. Damadian, what we didn't say is that you also run a company that turns out magnetic resonance imaging machines. It's called the Phoner Corporation of Melville, Long Island. Let's talk business for a moment. How's it doing?
Well, I think most recently the news is pretty cheerful. We're shipping about 3 machines a month. They're at a cost of $1.5 million per machine. We've just broken into the black in the second quarter of the year, ending December 31st with a $1.7 million profit on approximately 14 million shares. We expect the other remaining quarters for the year, ending June 30th, also to show about an equal magnitude profit. So we're doing very well.
I read somewhere that you expect to ship 4 of these machines a month. That's $1.5 million. That's 6 million times 12, 72 million. All boils down to $1 a share per year. Is that what you see? And it's said for the next 10 years.
Oh, I think we'll do better than that with each succeeding year.
I was going to...
1985 was 8 million. Yeah. This year is 40 million, and we're projecting 70 million for 1987. Fiscal 87.
Still, you're a small company. I wonder, what's your capacity for turning out these machines?
We have, in our current facilities, a total capacity of about 8 machines a month, which would be 150 million a year.
But in a growing industry, and you're up against companies like Johnson & Johnson and GE and Siemens of West Germany. How can you survive in this kind of big league?
Well, the other intriguing element, Paul, is that we hold the original patent, and the drama of the enforcement of that patent is now playing itself out in the courts. You probably know that we went through a tense litigation over 7 weeks against Johnson & Johnson, and the jury handed us a verdict of guilty and infringed against Johnson & Johnson. The judge interfered with that decision, and now it's up before the Court of Appeals.
But even if you win that one, does that only deal with Johnson & Johnson, or how about the other big companies that are...
it sets a precedent for everybody, because everybody in the industry is basically using the same technology of my patent.
They're not going to stop competing with you. Is it a question of that they might have to pay you for rights?
Well, we could file an injunction to stop them from producing altogether. We have the exclusive right to make, to use, and to sell under the patent, or we could grant a royalty depending on our decision process.
Okay, we'll see about that aspect of it. We mentioned in the introduction that magnetic resonancing is now getting into other areas, and I noted a check of the space rocket for cracks, check of pills for contamination. This seems like a universal can-do machine. Isn't that a bit grandiose?
Well, it sounds like science fiction, and that, of course, in a machine called Indomitable was a source of a lot of the trouble, because it was beyond belief that it could do all these things. But it can, because it's a tool for doing chemistry in detail entirely by wireless electronics, so its applications are universal. And it turns up all these strange applications that seem somewhat disconnected, but in principle, they're eminently connected.
Okay, chapter 1 in what probably promises to be a long story. Thanks very much, Dr. Raymond Damadian. I'm Paul Ehrlich in New York.